I am a firm believer in doing something about the state of your life if you don't like the state of your life. And this might sound novel, or maybe not. Maybe it sounds like, oh, yeah, if you don't like something, you should change it. But I find that a lot of people don't actually want to change. Okay. They like to complain about things and not make any changes. And yeah, I'm not going to be the person that you're going to want to talk to because I'm just going to tell you to change it. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. Welcome back to another episode of the Reflection Hour with your host, Sydney. So today it's very hot outside. It's like 90 degrees, and I love the heat. I am someone who lives in the heat. Well, I actually don't live in the heat all the time, but I feel like I come alive in the heat because I am an islander. My blood is islander. I don't know if that's the correct way to say that, but my family's from the islands, meaning the West Indies and Central America. So I love the heat because guess what? Central America and the Caribbean are closer to the equator. Where I'm at in New York, not close to the equator, very far from the equator. Not super far, not as far as Alaska, but it's still far. It's still far. And I have actually changed my location before. When I didn't like where I was at anymore, I decided to change it. And you can literally do that with any aspect of your life. And I encourage you to do so if you feel like it is not where you're supposed to be or what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. Stop complaining about it. I don't want to hear about it. Most people don't want to hear about it. Fucking do something about it. Sorry. If you don't like your job, change it. Change it. And that's what I did recently. Well, it's not that I hate my job. I don't hate it. It's just that I knew that I could do more, and it felt like where I was at was not really where I wanted to be, although obviously I could have climbed the ladder there, but I also don't really care to climb the ladder. I don't really know how to explain it. I think my career is not going to make sense to anyone, including myself, until I get to a certain point in my life. I'm like, oh, okay, like that step made sense with that step and that step and that step. I have to kind of see it looking backwards as opposed to moving forward and trying to decipher what I'm doing with my life. Because in all honesty, I genuinely don't know. I know I have some interests. I know that I do like operations. I think operations is very interesting. So that's obviously what I'm continuing to grow in. And I'm very appreciative for that or of that. But other than that, I don't really know what's going on. I really, really don't. But I do want to talk to you about how I have been able to actually deal with change, and not just deal with it, but I would say thrive in change. I'm very great at change. And at a certain point in my life, I would say I wasn't good at change. But because I have been forced to change in a lot of ways, I feel like God kind of forced my hand with certain things, whether it was me being laid off from my job a few months ago and then me having to figure it out, or, other things that happened at previous jobs, or like I was poached from another place and went to work at another place, or that didn't work out, or I tried something else and I didn't really like it, but I still tried it. I am down to change. I am down for change. And I always learn something. And I think the biggest thing that I learned when it comes to change is that I am unattached. Like, I can really jive with where I'm at and make the best of it, which I think is awesome. I think everybody should be that way. Like, instead of complaining about shit, you should do something about it. Like, stop complaining. I hate when people complain. Sorry. I hate when people complain. If you're going to come to me every day and you're going to say, oh my gosh, this and that and that and that and that, and I don't see you do one thing to change it, I'm going to tune you out. I don't care what you have to say anymore because you just like to hear your voice, and not in a good way. Because obviously I started this podcast because I like the sound of my own voice. Like, let's not even sugarcoat that. All right. I enjoy the sound of my own voice. You clearly do too, because you're listening to this podcast. That being said, I know that if I'm saying the same thing over and over again and I'm not making any changes and I expect for things to be different, I'm the crazy one. I'm the insane one. And the same goes for you. Okay? So I remember actually when I was in college, when I went to college way back when, it's crazy because next year is going to be my 10-year reunion from college. I cannot believe that. That actually flabbergasted me. I'm not going to lie to you. I still feel like I'm so young and I still have so much to do. And I also think that in a lot of ways, I haven't done anything. But that's probably how everybody feels in their early 30s. I don't know. Like some people have kids, some people are doing whatever. I don't have any of that stuff, not yet at least. And I'm not in a rush to do it either. I think when it comes to my timeline, I don't care about society's timeline, okay? I've clearly never cared. I've clearly been doing my own thing unknowingly, right? And I guess kind of knowingly. But you know what it is? I think that in a lot of ways, societal expectations need to change. I don't align with them, so then I don't subscribe to them. And that's how I live my life. You can choose to subscribe to them if you want. You could also choose not to subscribe to them. And I think a lot of the reason why people are so upset on the internet is because they spend way too much time on the internet. And people are giving these takes of like, all men are like this, all women are like this, oh, life is like this. You can actually make your own rules. You can follow the beat of your own drum, but it takes a lot of confidence. You have to be the type of person who is truly authentic and who has really done a lot of that shadow work that enables you to truly not give a fuck what other people think about you, say about you, because let's be honest, no one is living your life except for you. So why the hell would you ask anybody else what you should do with your life when the only advice they're going to give you is something that they would do given their life experience? And when you can recognize that, you can just see opinions for what they are. It's not anything that's set in stone of how life is. It's just how that person believes life is supposed to be. That's it. That's it. And so when I was in college, I first went to a state school in New York, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a good chance. I knew going to Smith was just not going to happen that first semester because I hadn't applied for aid, and that just wasn't going to happen. That wasn't my financial situation. And I made the best of it. You know, I did the bare minimum, to be honest, but I feel like that school was kind of easy for me. Like, sorry, but it was kind of easy for me. I didn't feel mentally stimulated, and it just became so boring for me because the thing is, I'm the type of person, if you are not mentally stimulating me, I can't really hang out with you for too long because I'm going to get bored. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to tune out. I'm just like probably not going to answer you back. Like I don't really want anything to do with you because we're not going deep. We're shallow. And someone who I go shallow with, I could lose you from my life, and it's not really lost. Sorry. That's just the truth. So I went there for a semester, but I had my eyes on the prize. I knew I wanted to go to Smith because I had already been there and I already knew like the rigor of the school. I know the academics were harder, and I wanted a school that had rigorous academics so it could keep me mentally engaged. So I set my sights on that school. I went through whatever I needed to do to apply so I could transfer to that school. And I made the best of my situation at the school that I was at, but I still had my eye on the prize. And you know what I did? Despite me not liking how things panned out initially, I decided to change it. I decided that, hey, I am the author of my life. I get to decide what happens in my life. Just because something didn't happen when I wanted it to happen doesn't mean that it can never happen. So then I ended up going to Smith during that second semester of my first year. And then I spent 3.5 years there and then graduated. And another thing that happened when I was at Smith, or actually when I was at the state school, Oneonta, if you're wondering, I gained so much weight. I probably gained like 20 pounds in that semester because what was I doing? Well, I was sitting in my room. I was watching Scandal. I was watching other shows. I was smoking a ton of weed. I was drinking. I was doing other things. And I was just partying. Honestly, I didn't care because the school was, in my mind, really easy. I didn't have to do much and I could do well at that school. And that's why I need to be mentally engaged, because if I'm not, then my mind becomes the devil's workshop. Like my grandmother always says this to me. She says the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And I believe that. Like you really should always keep yourself mentally engaged. Otherwise, you're just going to get into shit that you don't need to be getting into. And I've seen that across my life. And I just know it's true for me. Like I have to be mentally engaged. And I think a lot of people maybe perceive me to be, I don't want to say that I come off as a bit of a bimbo or that I come off as a bit shallow. I think I try to meet people where they're at, like where I can have rapport with people. But when I notice that I can go deeper with people, I go deeper with people. But I'm not necessarily always trying to prove how smart I am or prove this or that. I'm over that. I don't need to do that. Either you get it or you don't. And if you don't, that's fine. I don't take it personally. And I think someone who knows himself can say that. Someone who doesn't fully know themselves, someone who is trying to be seen as a certain way by people who are also trying to be seen as a certain way by other people, like, why would I cater to you? Like, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I get to Smith. I had gained this 20 pounds because I was depressed. Like, let's be honest. I was sitting in my room. I was eating. I was drinking. I was smoking. I was doing all the things because I was depressed. I didn't like where I was at. And I was eating myself into a hole. So I get to Smith and it's such a beautiful campus. Like I absolutely love Smith. I actually have to visit Smith again. It's been so many years. I think the last time that I was there was maybe like 8 years ago. It was a year after I graduated that I went there because I had a friend who still went to school there. Long story short, it's been a long time since I've been there. But behind Smith, there's this really nice path. And they have a bike path in general that I would run down to. And I just fell in love with running. I used to play lacrosse. And initially when I went to Smith, I was like, oh yeah, like maybe I'll play on the lacrosse team. They're Division III. And then I ended up not doing that because I was like, I don't really want the commitment of being on a sports team, having to wake up at a certain time. Like I'm just trying to enjoy college. I'm not trying to be doing all that. Also, I'm not playing pro. Like I'm not playing pro. What am I doing? Let me just have a good time. So I ended up not doing lacrosse, but I did start running on my own as a form of therapy. Okay. I would go on these really, really long runs. Like it started out as a mile, 2 miles. Then it became 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles. And the most I ever ran without stopping wasn't at Smith, but it was later down the line, like years later down the line when I was in San Francisco. And I ran like 7 miles without stopping. And it felt really good. And I was supposed to run a half marathon, the Golden Gate half, but I literally woke up late. And I see that as divine intervention because although I could have done it, I don't think that I was fully in that mental headspace. There was just a lot going on when I was in San Francisco. A lot. Maybe I'll get into that one day, but there was just so much going on. And sometimes I wonder why I did that. Like, why would I put myself in the situations that I found myself when I was in San Francisco? Like, why would I willingly do that if I live such a vastly different life at home, like from where I'm from? Why would I do that? And I remember I had a conversation with this guy who I was interning for at the time, which that was a whole other situation because the dude like wasn't paying me whatsoever and like is expecting me to be there for 8 hours a day. I can't fucking afford to live in San Francisco. Like, what are we doing here? And at one point, he actually set me up in a hostel for 2 days where I was the only woman in a room with all men who I did not know. And I remember one day I came back and one of my roommates, all of his stuff is strewn about on the floor of his hostel, which it was so disgusting. Like, I don't think you understand. I could not shower in the shower without having flip-flops on. It was so bad. And even though we had a lock on our door, I came back from work one day and it was open. Like, it was just completely open. And I had the wherewithal to know to bring my stuff with me, to have it with me at work so that I could see where my stuff was with me at all times. Okay? Like, I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of street smarts in a lot of ways because of some of the experiences that I had that I was very naive to before. And I mean, I do think the childlike wonder, the trust in God has obviously helped me because I never experienced anything where I really got hurt or anything like that. But oh my God, this is actually making me think about one of the times when I was in San Francisco and I had kind of overstayed my welcome. I was couch surfing and I wasn't living in San Francisco proper. I was living in South San Francisco. If you know anything about the Bay Area, South San Francisco is literally south of San Francisco, south of, I don't even remember the stop, but it was closer to the Mission, and the Mission was like the artsy district, whatever, really good food, really good tacos, stuff like that. But you also would definitely see like a lot of homeless people. You would see like scenes you wouldn't necessarily want to see, but I loved it. I love San Francisco. There was like a grittiness to it. I preferred it to LA. I did not like LA. I remember going to LA after I went to San Francisco was like nearly trafficked, to be honest. But my mom called me, so the guy was like, oh, people would definitely miss this one, so can't take her, even though I looked like I didn't have a family at the time. Anyway, I'm like clearly needing to get this off my chest. So yeah, I was in South San Francisco and I was going from one place that I was staying because I was kicked out to another place, and I had a suitcase. It was like a carry-on suitcase because I didn't really plan out staying. I kind of packed all of my favorite clothing and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this work. Like, I'm just going to stay in San Francisco. And I did for a few weeks. Like, I'm actually very impressed with myself because as soon as I decided that I was going to stay, I found a job at a fast casual restaurant in downtown SF over like in the financial district. And it was like a really nice setup in the sense that I had to be there at 10. I was done by 3. And they always had food at the end of the day that I could take home with me. So I didn't really have to pay for food, which was an expense that I didn't need given I was in San Francisco and everything was so freaking expensive, especially when you're making like, I don't know, maybe like $15 an hour because minimum wage was higher there. Plus we would get tips because people leave cash tips, which was really nice. And it was kind of like a cool crew of people that I met there. I was just very much a nomad, and that time in my life was really just so insane. Like I can't even put words to how insane that time in my life was and how much I learned about what I can endure and what I can do, and how regardless of what's going on, I'm always going to be okay. I just know that I'm always going to be okay. And this is why when something happens like, oh, I'm laid off from my job or whatever, I don't give a fuck because I've been in way worse situations and I made it out. So I'll make it out of any situation. And I think that's really good. And that really does play into what I'm saying about if you don't like something, change it. Because I did get to a point when I was in San Francisco where I was like, fuck this. Why am I living this life? Like, why am I basically homeless on the street when I don't have to be? When I can go home, I can live with my parents, and I can figure my shit out there. And that's what I did. I changed up the situation And I went home. Okay. Not everybody has that privilege, but I did. And I can recognize my privilege. I'm not saying I was put up in this big ass mansion, because that's definitely not what the case was. But I could go home to my family, sleep in my own bed, in my own room, be able to walk around my neighborhood and feel safe. And when you go through an experience where it's diametrically opposed to the lifestyle that you grew up in, I think it really does give you a level of grit that is unexplainable. I think it's within my energy. Like, it's very much you can tell, I think, that there's almost like this darkness to me, and I personally love it. I mean, I've definitely done some dark things, I'll be honest, but I'm not going to really get into that because I don't think it's really relevant to what I'm talking about right now. Really, I want to get back to the running thing. So, one of my stints in San Francisco, I was really into running, and I would do a lot of running around. I was really into yoga. So I'd go to my yoga classes, I would do running, and my boss at the time was a runner. And I remember I told him that I ran 7 miles that day, and he was pissed because I ran more than him that day. And I wasn't even trying to compete with him. I was just doing my thing. And I was supposed to run that half marathon. I didn't end up running it because I woke up late, which was upsetting. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to run a half marathon this year. So it's fine. It's okay. And one of the things I love about running is that you can really zone out. You're in your own zone, and you can really challenge yourself to become better. So the past few days, meaning yesterday and today, since it was the start of the week, yesterday was Monday, today is Tuesday, I ended up running a little over a 5K yesterday, and I did the same exact route again today. And I'm really just working on getting faster at that and being really consistent with doing it on a daily basis. If it's 5 days a week that I do it, and then maybe, or like 4 days a week, I run the 5K, a little over a 5K. I think it was like 3.5 miles total that I did today and yesterday, each day. And then one of the days each week, I do a much longer run, like maybe a 6 mile run. By the time I want to actually run that half marathon, I'll be more than ready to do it. More so than I was when I was in San Francisco, because again, I had a lot going on. And it's just really nice because I think my motivations for starting running when I was in college was largely to lose weight because I knew that I had gained so much weight. But I mean, there was also an aspect of me that really loved the fact that it enabled me to zone out. I could listen to my favorite playlists, I could listen to my favorite podcast, and I could just run. However I was feeling, I would just exhaust all that energy. And I still do that to this day. Whenever I feel frustrated and I know I haven't moved my body enough, what do? I switch things up and I transmute that energy and I go on a run, I go on a walk, I do a workout in my room. You know why? Because I care about myself. I care about myself so much to the point that I will put myself through pain so that I will feel better. And isn't it so crazy that when you do something hard, you feel better? I don't know why that's the case, but you feel so much better whenever you put yourself out of your comfort zone and do something good for you that hurts momentarily. And I definitely need to get back into doing yoga because I think the thing that I loved about yoga is you are in some of these poses and they hurt. The longer that you stay in those poses, the more that you have feelings that come up that are so incredibly uncomfortable, and you want to get out of that pose because of the feelings that it's bringing up. But that's why you have to stay in those poses longer, because you need to release that stuck energy so that it doesn't stay in your body. And speaking of that, I currently have a sty on my right eye, which I fucking hate. I don't even know why I'm so prone to these damn styes, but for whatever reason, I'm prone to styes and I don't like them. And I always know that it's related to a way that I'm not taking care of myself. And, I think that's kind of what's happening right now. Unfortunately, I think it's my right eye that I have this dye on. So yeah, I like to type in Google spiritual meaning of styes. Let's see. Spiritual meaning of sty in right eye. Let's see what it says. I feel like it's going to be pretty on the nose. Okay. A sty in the right eye is often interpreted as a sign of emotional imbalance. Interesting. Suggesting unresolved feelings like anger or sadness that need attention. It may also indicate a blockage in the third eye chakra, urging you to reflect on your inner world and seek clarity in your perceptions. And I mean, honestly, I can kind of see how this is relevant to my life right now. I think I'm just going through a big transitional time in my life. I mean, it feels like I'm always going through a transitional time in my life. I'm not going to lie to you. And okay, so I'm reading more of this. If you're experiencing a sty in your right eye, it may indicate a physical and emotional imbalance. Okay, we already said that. Negative energy and spiritual cleansing. Okay, intuition and inner wisdom. Tap into your intuition and inner wisdom to gain insight and guidance on your spiritual journey. Your intuition is a powerful tool for navigating the complexities of life. Okay, whatever. Know that. Self-reflection and self-examination. I mean, hey, I am about to start a new job again. It feels like I'm constantly starting new jobs. But the reason I'm starting a new job soon is because I got a better job and I'm really happy about it. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to be making more money, which is awesome. So I am happy about all of that. I do need rest and relaxation. And this is one of the things and one of the reasons why I think I got this sty, especially. I was actually in the city over the weekend on Saturday, and I was supposed to go into the city again on Sunday. But after being in New York City on Saturday, which was such a beautiful day, all the fucking people walking around. I am from the suburbs, okay? I like the city, but I don't love the city. And I think this weekend really showed me that, okay? This weekend proved to me that I am supposed to live in the suburbs. I'm not supposed to live in the city. And at one point in time, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to live in the city. Living in the city would be so cool, even though I don't live super far away from the city. But, oh yeah, like living in the city is a whole different beast. I need to live in the city. And I used to have a lot of friends who lived in Brooklyn, and I would go and visit them. But Brooklyn is a completely different vibe. Like Carroll Gardens, downtown Brooklyn. Love Carroll Gardens, by the way. Such a different vibe from Manhattan, Lower East Side, where there's hordes of people. And every time you go to a restaurant, there are lines and it's hot and everybody's there. Like, I'm not the type of person who wants to be around a lot of people. I like intimate gatherings. I like getting to know people on an intimate level with people who I know I like. People who have similar interests to me, whereby it doesn't feel like I'm like speed dating friends. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot do that. I don't want to do that. And that's something that I realize. And I guess with the sty, I didn't get the rest over the weekend that I really needed for my week. And that's why my eyes fucked up. It's not anything super crazy. It's kind of on like the bottom lid of my right eye. And I'm sure I'm going to go to sleep tonight and it's going to be gone. So it's perfectly fine, whatever. But it kind of sucks when you're talking to people and you have this fucking sty on your eye. I mean, whatever. I don't really care. People aren't going to tell me that there's a sty there anyway. They're not going to bring attention to it because I think most people don't want to be rude, and like that's really great. Although when it comes to me, like sometimes I will, I guess, be rude and be honest. Like, I remember I had this experience. I was at Trader Joe's once. By the way, I haven't been to Trader Joe's in over a year, which I think is really crazy. But that's just the situation there. So anyway, I was at Trader Joe's and I see this woman and she has this big ass piece of, or like mark of her lipstick like on her face. And I'm like, oh my God, girly pop, like you have makeup all over here and you have some lipstick on your teeth. She felt so embarrassed, but she was also so appreciative. She was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. She's like, I just left the house. I was running out. I wouldn't have seen that all day. Thank you so much for letting me know I wasn't going to walk around like that all day. And I have these interactions with people where I share these things, and it always flabbergasts me when people don't tell other people, like, hey, you look kind of fucked up right now. Like, your hair is like all over the place, or you have some makeup here or whatever. And I don't get why that's a rude thing to do. I feel like the ruder thing is to let that person go throughout their whole day and no one told them because no one wanted to be real to them. And like, for me, that's weird. Why would you do that? Why would you want to be fake to this person? I don't get it. I really don't get it. But that's the world we live in. A fake world. Okay, a fake world. I'm all over the place, but so need for rest and relaxation. This is what this website says. Addressing the unresolved emotions and stress that may have contributed to the manifestation of a sty in your right eye can also highlight the need for rest and relaxation as essential components of your self-care routine. It's important to prioritize rest and rejuvenation to aid in the healing process and prevent future occurrences. Consider the following. Rest and rejuvenation. Make time for adequate sleep each night to allow your body to repair and regenerate. Engage in relaxing activities such as meditation, gentle yoga, or spending time in nature to reduce stress and promote overall well-being. It's funny because I did that this morning when I went on my run. I was sitting outside earlier for a few minutes with my sister, but I'm not getting the sleep that I should probably be getting. Because you know what it is? I go to sleep, or I intend to go to sleep, and then I'm just up all night in my head. Not all night, but I'm up longer than I would like to be, staring at my wall or thinking of things or imagining myself in places or scenarios, and it's just a lot. I have an overactive mind because I think entirely way too much. And there's a really great thing about that because I'm constantly coming up with new ideas and I'm constantly exploring these different rabbit holes that I probably don't need to explore, but I enjoy going down those rabbit holes. And sometimes I don't necessarily have someone to talk about or to talk with about those rabbit holes. So I just go down them in my mind. And I feel like that's very healthy. I mean, even this podcast, I'm literally sitting in a room talking to myself. Like, there's no one on the other end of this. I'm just doing this myself. And I find that to be therapeutic. I find it to be rejuvenating. And I kind of decided that I didn't like that I was doing 2 podcasts a week because it just kind of felt like too much. And I don't want to do the thing that I did before where I put way too much on my plate and then I can't be consistent in it. And that's something I'm changing. That's something I'm doing differently. So instead of me saying, oh, I'm going to go balls to the wall, I'm going to be super intense, we're going to do this, yeah, I'm going to do 2 podcasts a week, I don't care, I still have a full-time job, I'm going to do this too, and I'm going to do everything else. No. Hold the brakes, okay? If you are consistent once a week and you do that for a year, like, look at where you're going to be in a year versus doing spurts of 2 podcasts here. A few weeks go by, you haven't done it. You do another 2. Like, you have to be consistent in everything that you do. And you have to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're actually holding yourself back from where you say that you want to go. And when you can be honest with yourself and stop the self-sabotaging behaviors, you will also notice that maybe you're being a bit overzealous. And if you're being a bit overzealous, it's okay. But dial it back a little bit and implement a habit in your life that you can truly be consistent in, that you will not fall off the wagon and have to constantly start over and over and over again. Because I think That's what I don't like as well. That is what I'm actively changing. And that's why I am getting to a place where I'm really deciding, okay, like, how do I want my daily life to look? Because from your daily life, you create your literal life. So if you wake up every day and you work out, and then you make yourself breakfast, and then you do whatever your work is, whether you're going to a job or whether you're doing whatever you're doing, and you are very militant and very routine in what you're doing, eventually you're going to get to a point where all those boring, mundane things that you did every single day are going to catch up and snowball into this amazing life, but it's not going to feel like it was hard because it wasn't. It's simple to have a good life, but you have to do those simple things every single day. It's also simple not to do it. And when I think about the times in my life when things were really going well and where I felt like I was on top of the world, it's because I had my habits so down packed and I didn't get caught up in, oh, I need it to be yesterday that I see all of my efforts come to a head, you know? You just have to get comfortable in the process. Like, you can't force life to happen overnight. And I don't even think you really want it to happen overnight. I think it's better when life happens and you enjoy the journey. And I would say that's been the major perspective that I've been taking as of late. I just want to enjoy my life. I'm not looking for anybody to complete me. I'm not looking for a job or a career to define me. I am not looking for a specific place in the world to be my one true place and that's where I live forever. I'm looking at it from the perspective of wherever I go, I take myself. And I've learned this through my travels because I was very much under the belief that if I moved to California, I would be happier. Specifically, if I moved to SF, I would be happier because I'd be in SF, the weather's great, and my life would just be great because I wouldn't have all the problems that I had when I was in New York. But when I got to SF and I still had a lot of problems, it was then that I realized, and my mom had also been telling me this, I'll be honest, wherever I go, I take myself. If I'm unhappy in New York, I'm going to be unhappy in San Francisco. I'm going to be unhappy in LA. I'm going to be unhappy in Miami. Went to Miami too. I'm going to be unhappy in Mexico City. Went to Mexico City too. I'm going to be unhappy in all these different places because I haven't got to the root of why I'm unhappy. And why I was unhappy was because I had these beliefs about myself that didn't make me feel good about myself. And so many of us have these beliefs about ourselves that don't serve us, okay? But it's like, where did we get these beliefs? How were these beliefs formed? These beliefs are generally formed in childhood and through the society in which you participate in, okay? So if you grow up in a family where people don't believe in love or they don't believe in you being able to go out there and create whatever you want, you are subconsciously going to adopt these beliefs until the point where you decide to actively reprogram those beliefs or to just let go of the limiting beliefs that are clearly not serving you. And I believe, this is what I've mostly been focused on ever since 2020. I don't think I was super on top of it. I was for a moment, but then I would get off the wagon, like I wouldn't be consistent. And then all of the progress that I made would kind of revert. But I also think, in all honesty, I wasn't going deep enough into my own psyche and into what those limiting beliefs were, because it was hard for me to look at myself and look at these beliefs and be honest with myself that, you know what, I had to change something. Because until you actually get to the core, the root of these beliefs and really let them go, they are going to be running the script of your life. And that's so many people. They change things on the outside, but they haven't changed anything on the inside, which would then automatically create a change externally. Because your inner world is ultimately a reflection, your outer world is ultimately a reflection of your inner world. So if you don't like something in your outer world, you need to look within, because that mirror of your external reality is telling you something about yourself that you don't want to be honest with yourself about. It's the truth. And that's why I even went through that exercise of looking at what the spiritual meaning of having a sty on my right eye is, because it helps me to see how my body is trying to get my attention as to something I'm not being real with myself. So the only way your body sometimes knows to get your attention is to make you sick, is to give you an ailment in a certain part of your body that is connected to something else spiritually that it hopes you will look into and do the deeper shadow work to actually let that energy go so that you can transmute it and change those beliefs permanently. So you can change. We all can change. But the answer is, do you want to do the deep work to really make those changes? Or do you just want to say it? And I think there's so many people online who read the quotes, they read the books, but when it comes to really doing the work, and I am one of these people, okay? I am guilty of doing exactly what I'm saying, what I'm calling people out for, okay? A lot of people talk a big game, but they won't actually do the thing that's necessary. And if you keep lying to yourself and you keep saying, oh, I'm okay, but like your external reality is clearly saying that you're not that okay, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself.
It's not the vibe. Stop!
And that's it. You're lying to yourself. And until you decide to change, you can't expect your life to change. That's it. So I hope maybe you learned something from this today. I am happy that I'm running again. I was super into SoulCycle for a while, and that was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm sure I'll go back at some point in time, but I did work there, and that's kind of the place that I was laid off from. So I feel like I needed space from it, because I think it's so easy to get super entwined with a place and kind of lose your identity, especially when it comes to like SoulCycle specifically. I think there's like a bit of like a cult-like draw to it or aspect to it, which is what I liked about it. But I think at the end of the day, I always want to have my own identity. And if I feel like I'm losing myself to people, places, or things, I can very easily pull myself out of it and do something else. I'm unattached. I don't really care, because I know at the end of the day, regardless of whatever my fascination is at the moment, I have me. And I'm the most fascinated in myself, just like you should likely be the most fascinated in yourself. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. It was definitely very cathartic. And I'm going to go rest and chill. Maybe you should do that too. Maybe you should get a nice glass of water, do some deep breathing, maybe go on a walk if it's early enough in the day. Do some stretching and just chill, because most things aren't that serious. You should take your life seriously, but you should have a good time, because we're here for a good time, not a long time. And if you're constantly thinking that you need to change something about yourself, well, that's maybe a perspective you should change, because it's okay to just be. And that's what I've learned. It's okay for me to just be. And we are human beings. So we don't really need to do as much as we think we do in order to be accepted. And if you feel like you have to do so much in order to be accepted by people, like maybe you don't want to be accepted by them in the first place. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you like this message, like, comment, subscribe, maybe share with a friend, and I will see you all in the next one.